In recent days, the world has been paying close attention to growing tensions in the Middle East after Iran warned that it may respond to actions it considers hostile. Such statements often make international headlines, and for good reason. When a powerful country uses strong language, it can affect global politics, security, and even everyday life in distant countries. Understanding these situations is important, not only for following the news but also for improving English skills, especially vocabulary related to politics, diplomacy, and international relations. Iran's warning did not come suddenly. It is part of a long history of disagreements involving regional security, military actions, and international pressure. Over the years, Iran has repeatedly said that it will defend its sovereignty and national interests if it feels threatened. When officials speak publicly, every word is carefully chosen. Phrases like, serious consequences, appropriate response, or, at the right time, may sound vague, but in diplomatic language, they carry strong meaning. These expressions are designed to send a message without clearly explaining what action will be taken. For English learners, listening to such news is a great way to understand formal and serious language. News reports often use indirect expressions rather than emotional or dramatic words. For example, instead of saying a country is angry, reporters might say it is deeply concerned, or strongly opposed. These phrases may seem soft, but they usually indicate intense disagreement. Learning to recognize this style helps listeners understand the real message behind the words. The international community usually reacts quickly when warnings like this are issued. Other countries may call for calm, restraint, and dialogue. These words appear frequently in political news. Restraint means controlling one's actions and avoiding violence. Dialogue refers to communication and discussion between sides to solve problems peacefully. When diplomats encourage dialogue, they are suggesting meetings, negotiations, and talks instead of military action. These terms are useful not only in news English but also in professional and academic conversations. Media coverage plays a huge role in shaping public opinion. Different news outlets may describe the same event in different ways. One report might focus on Iran's right to defend itself, while another might emphasize concerns about regional stability. This is why it is important to listen to multiple sources and pay attention to how language is used. Words like retaliation, defense, provocation, and escalation can change the tone of a story. For English learners, comparing reports is an excellent exercise to understand nuance and perspective. Iran's warning also reminds the world how fragile peace can be. A single incident, statement, or misunderstanding can increase tensions rapidly. In such situations, communication becomes critical. Leaders often use public speeches and official statements to send signals not only to their own people but also to foreign governments. These speeches are usually translated into many languages, but understanding the original English version helps learners grasp global discussions more directly. From a language learning point of view, podcasts about current events are extremely valuable. They combine listening practice with real-world knowledge. When you hear discussions about Iran, diplomacy, and global reactions, you are exposed to advanced vocabulary and complex sentence structures. This is especially useful for Level 3 learners who want to move beyond simple conversations and understand serious topics confidently. Another important aspect is tone. News podcasts usually maintain a calm and neutral tone, even when discussing serious threats. This teaches learners how to speak about sensitive topics without sounding emotional or biased. Using balanced language is an important skill in debates, presentations, and professional settings. By listening carefully, learners can pick up phrases that sound respectful, informed, and mature. Iran's warning of a response also raises questions about the future. Analysts often discuss possible outcomes, using conditional language such as could, might, or is likely to. This kind of language expresses uncertainty and possibility. Mastering these structures helps English learners talk about predictions and hypothetical situations. For example, saying, "This situation could lead to further talks," sounds more thoughtful and realistic than making absolute claims. In conclusion, news about Iran warning of a response is more than just a political story. It is an opportunity to learn how international communication works and how English is used at a high level. By listening to podcasts on such topics, learners improve their vocabulary, comprehension, and confidence. They also become more informed global citizens who can understand complex issues and discuss them intelligently. In a world where events are closely connected, learning English through real news helps bridge the gap between language learning and real-life understanding. Global reactions often become just as important as the original event itself when a country like Iran issues a warning of a possible response. In international politics, no statement exists in isolation. Every message is heard, analyzed, and interpreted by governments, media organizations, and ordinary people around the world. Understanding these reactions helps listeners see the bigger picture and, at the same time, develop stronger English skills through exposure to real and meaningful content. When Iran warns of a response, other nations usually respond with carefully chosen words. Allies may express understanding or support, while opponents may voice concern or criticism. Neutral countries often call for calm and stability. These different responses show how international relationships work. For English learners, this is a valuable lesson in recognizing tone and intention. Words like support, condemn, urge, and welcome are commonly used in official statements and can completely change the meaning of a sentence. International organizations also play an important role. Groups such as the United Nations often release statements encouraging peaceful solutions. They emphasize respect for international law and the importance of avoiding actions that could increase tension. This type of language is formal and polite, but it carries serious meaning. Learning to understand this style helps English learners become familiar with official and institutional English, which is often used in academic writing and professional environments. Media discussions following Iran's warning usually involve experts and analysts. These experts explain possible consequences and explore different scenarios. They may discuss economic impacts, regional security, or diplomatic options. The language used here is analytical and thoughtful. Phrases like, from a strategic perspective, long-term implications, and regional dynamics appear frequently. Listening to such discussions improves comprehension of complex ideas and helps learners organize their own thoughts more clearly in English. Another interesting aspect is how public opinion is shaped. Social media, talk shows, and online forums quickly react to breaking news. While official statements are calm and measured, public reactions can be emotional and direct. Comparing these two styles teaches learners the difference between formal and informal English. It also highlights the importance of choosing the right words depending on the situation. What sounds acceptable in a casual conversation may not be suitable in a professional or diplomatic context. Global reactions also show how interconnected the world has become. A warning issued in one country can influence markets, travel plans, and political discussions in many others. News podcasts often explain these connections, helping listeners understand cause and effect. This kind of explanation is useful for English learners because it demonstrates how to link ideas smoothly using words like, therefore, as a result, however, and meanwhile. These connectors make speech and writing more fluent and logical. For learners at level 3, listening to podcasts about world politics builds confidence. At first, the topic may seem difficult, but repeated exposure makes it easier. Over time, learners start recognizing key terms and patterns. They also become comfortable with longer sentences and more detailed explanations. This progress is important for moving from basic understanding to advanced comprehension. Another benefit is cultural awareness. Understanding global reactions to Iran's warning helps learners see how different countries think and communicate. It teaches respect for different perspectives and encourages critical thinking. Instead of accepting one opinion, learners are encouraged to listen carefully, compare viewpoints, and form their own understanding. This skill is valuable not only in language learning but also in everyday life. The use of prediction and possibility is common when discussing future outcomes. Analysts often avoid certainty and instead focus on what may happen. This introduces learners to modal verbs and conditional structures. Sentences like, this could lead to negotiations, or, there might be increased pressure, are examples of careful and responsible language. Learning these structures helps learners sound more natural and thoughtful when discussing uncertain situations. Listening to such podcasts also improves pronunciation and listening accuracy. Hearing native or fluent speakers talk about serious topics trains the ear to different accents and speaking speeds. Over time, learners become better at understanding English in real-life situations, not just in textbooks. This makes language learning more practical and enjoyable. In the end, global reactions to Iran's warning offer more than political information. They provide a rich learning experience for English students. Through podcasts and news discussions, learners expand their vocabulary, improve their listening skills, and gain confidence in understanding complex topics. By engaging with real-world issues, English learning becomes meaningful, relevant, and connected to the world around us.